pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please bow your head for a second. Gracious God, we lift up our city to you. May this place be a place of welcoming where service and gratitude guide our leaders and all who live here. Bless the families, the workers, the first responders, and all who call Hazen home. Fill our community with hope, love, and spirit of service to one another. In your name we pray. Amen. Approval of minutes from November 4th, please.
Motion to approve and suspend reading.
Okay, motion by Weidrich.
Second.
And second by Folkerts. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. All right, approval of the agenda. Any changes, additions, Monty?
I put a couple of additions on there under the reports. I have the garbage truck repairs, and then under new business, the 2025 safety goals for WSI. Motion to approve as presented.
Motion by Weidrich.
Second.
Second by Stern. Discussion. All in favor of this agenda say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. All right, engineers report. Grant, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, welcome.
Okay, we'll start at the top here of our report. Expedition Estates, construction's wrapped up for the year. They'll be back in the spring. We're maintaining the punch list, keeping track of things, know what's left to finish. So they have some work left to complete in the spring. We've been communicating with them. Alley improvements. His work is substantially complete at this point. We did that change order a couple meetings back where we extended the completion date for that. He has that one private business he's not gonna be able to get to this year. Concrete plants start shutting down. It just gets more expensive to pour concrete this time of year. You have to cover it, things like that. So the alley is complete. Your guys' parking lot's complete. It's one private business that's not complete. So at this point, he'll be back in the spring to finish that one private business. We have a pay app here tonight and a change order. The change order, this reduces it's a reducing change order. It pulls one of the private businesses out of there. Winkler and the private business are contracting separately outside of the city, so we can let them do that. We had change ordered that into the project. We're just gonna remove that one private business. So this is a deduct change order for $23,615.73. And then it also adds in, there's a little bit of rock landscaping he had to do, so that's a minor addition. And then there was that stuff around the coal chute area. He had to do some fine work with his hands around that coal chute to make everything blend in along that bank, and did some investigating with that coal chute. So there's a couple additions that are pretty small and then the big deduct on there. So it's a negative change order for $23,615.73. And I would recommend approval of change order 2.
Okay. So moved. Motion by Folkerts to approve.
Second.
Second by Stern. Discussion. Roll call.
Folkerts.
Aye.
Stern.
Aye.
Weidrich.
Aye.
Omenauer.
Aye. Motion carried.
And then payout 2, this would be for all his work up to this point. I recommend approval of payout 2 for $119,956.23.
So
Motion by Weidrich.
Second.
And second by Stern. Discussion. And that'll bring us up to current then?
Yeah, up to current, and then the only thing left is that one private business to pay out next spring.
Perfect.
And we still have retainage eligible.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Weidrich.
Aye.
Stern.
Aye.
Folkerts.
Aye.
Omenauer.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you.
Alright, then the sanitary sewer improvements. If you guys remember, we bid this project on September 26th. Bids are good for 60 days. So we are coming up on the 60-day mark. We did talk with CC Steel. They're comfortable holding their bid. Prices aren't rising on them drastically right now, so they're comfortable with that. They want the project. It's up to you guys what we do from here. But then we decided to go and have pipe detectives televise the unknown areas. There were multiple areas that either we couldn't find televising for, or the televising was old enough where it didn't really show us what we needed to see, and new things popped up, stuff like that. So we had estimated in a lot of unknowns in our bid, just to cover that for us not knowing the condition of the pipe, spot repairs, things like that. So when we went and had that additional televising done, we answered those unknowns, and like we figured, it worked in your guys' benefit. So one, the additional televising was cheaper than it was in the bid, because you're not using SRF, you don't have the wage rates, so they don't have to follow federal wage rates. So it was like half price, I believe. I think it was 25,000 compared to 50,000. So you save money there by pulling it out. Number two, the spot repairs, there were way less spot repairs than we figured. We had put in that buffer just in case there were a bunch, but there were 3. So when we bid it, there were 265 lineal feet that we bid. There's only gonna be about 65 lineal feet of spot repairs in those areas. So the bid price, when we showed you guys after the bid, the engineer's statement of cost was 3.2 million. Our original cost estimate before the bid was 2.643 million. So it was about $550,000 over budget before. Today, after updating those costs, we were at 2.784 million. So it's still about 140,000 over budget, but it brought it down by about 500,000. So it was a good move to go ahead and have them do that. Save you guys money in more ways than one. In the end, if you would have awarded it, they wouldn't have ended up doing those spot repairs, but at least now you know and you have that comfort. So another thing was there were some pipe types that weren't in our GIS system we have. They weren't updated in there, so some of the VCP pipe was actually PVC pipe, so it won't be televised. So we have record of that now, updates we made in GIS, so everything will be reflected accordingly in the end. So from here, you guys have options. You guys can award the project to CC Steel. I did talk to CC Steel because the other thing is with the change in this, they would be, it's their right to adjust their prices because of how much the quantity changed in the price of the project. They're gonna hold everything and honor it. They're not gonna raise prices or anything. They said they want the project, they're comfortable with where it's at, so they will honor those prices. Or you can rebid the project. We've talked about that. You could rebid it as is, reduce scope, could change it to multiple contracts. There's a couple things you could do there. Or you guys could sit on it, think another month, and then we could come back in a couple weeks for your next meeting. We can talk then too, and if there's any other information you guys want, we can help you out with that. But it's in your court. You guys don't have to make a decision tonight, and we can help you with whatever from here.
So Grant, that they wouldn't be able to start until thaw.
Yeah.
Okay.
So their machines don't work in the winter in the steam from being down there in the sewer. So much steam you can't see anything. So they'd be in the spring.
What can you tell us about those 3 spots for repair?
So this was pretty common throughout a lot of the televising we watched in your town. The VCP is aging. A lot of
That's the clay tile.
Clay tile, yeah. A lot of old clay tile will crack and break, and there's some really good I shouldn't say good pictures. There's some very storytelling pictures of your guys' sewer where it's cracked, and they call it quarter cracking, where it's about ready to fail, where it's in all 4 quarters, where it's cracked, and basically, if it gets too much pressure, that's gonna crush, because it's quarter. Or there's pipe missing in areas. You can line through all that. So our liner will go right through it, as long as that shape is still there and there's not a big sag, you can line through it. The liner is gonna be structurally sound, you can drive on it, it'll last, it's gonna be a great pipe in there. It's just if there's a sag that's already there, it's gonna show up when we're done lining it. So a lot of what we found in your spot repairs are either really, really bad breaks where it's not repairable by a liner, or there was a spot repair done previously with a PVC piece of pipe, but then they used flexible couplings, boots on each side, where it then sunk or sagged at that point. So you can see right where the couplings were, it dropped. There was one that we watched that, it was like this much of the pipe showing, the rest of the PVC pipe was way below. So we don't even know how sewer was getting through some of those areas and how there weren't more backups. So there were some really bad ones. Those are ones that have to be dug up. So there's times they can come through and do a trenchless spot repair. Ones like that, you can't fix it, you can't line it. Honestly, that one, maybe the liner would have ended up going outside the pipe because there was that much of the pipe that wasn't showing. So that's the majority of what we found for spot repairs.
Well, personally, I feel like that we've had plenty of time to mull this over, and I'm glad to see that there's a reduction in only 3 of these spot repairs. I think we should award the bid now to them. They could prepare, we're ready to go. That's just my opinion. We can, obviously, they're not gonna start digging tomorrow, so we can wait till the next meeting if you guys want to. It's your decision, but I don't know what else we want to be waiting for. So, Casey, thoughts?
So this project started and stuff that we just needed to do, I guess. Need to do all these, I guess, spot repairs, you know. Well, now there's only, I guess, like 3 spots that need to be fixed.
In this one area. I don't have the number of how many there.
15 other ones.
I wanna say there's like 15 other ones, so it's 18 total. We had, I think you're right, 15 is the number that sticks in my head. 15, and then we had another 15 for these unknown areas, we call them. And now there's 3 in that area, so there's 18 total. Yeah.
If you guys are more comfortable with more thought about this for the next meeting, that's fine.
The other thing with that price too, I'll mention now, is that there is still 10% contingency. So the plan for this project is to go to SRF for that 30-year 2% loan.
Mm-hmm.
With that, you have to hold the 10% contingency. So that is included in there. So there's about 200 and some thousand dollars in contingency there that is there in case it's needed. If it's not used, it just goes away. So keep that in mind as well.
Okay. Questions for Grant?
I'll make a motion to approve bid.
We have a motion by Weidrich,
I'll second.
second by Folkers. Discussion. Roll call.
Weidrich.
Aye.
Folkerts.
Aye.
Stern.
No.
Omenauer.
Yes. Motion carried.
I'm looking at general items there. We have the miscellaneous concrete repairs on there. I don't think we're in any rush to look at that right now. Winkler was not comfortable bidding it for this year with the work he had, so maybe we touch base with him this winter and other contractors as needed as well. Other than that, I don't have anything else for you guys unless you guys can think of anything for me.
One of those, that corner at the hospital, correct?
Yeah.
That didn't get touched ever, am I right?
Yeah,
Okay.
he actually has that on his list though, right?
Yeah, he
Yes.
said, he thought that was,
Yeah.
so snow plow, careful there, that's, come out of your seat if you hit that thing.
We'll level it off.
Yeah. Okay, anything else for Grant? Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks guys.
You bet. Okay, down to 6, request of citizens, 6A, Chalk Fest, Lauren
Hi, so.
and Marty.
Hello. Yeah, Marty, come on. It's November, so it's a little bit late for us to be here, but we're just kind of reporting in after August. Chalk Fest, the first thing we'd like to do is say thank you to the city for the wonderful help and cooperation for our event again this year,
Thanks,
which is
guys, yeah.
terrific. You closed the street for a whole week. I don't know if you remember doing that, but it was really beneficial for us. So we had a really good event. And in a very dry summer, we managed to attract two of the only rainstorms that came through. But it put a little bit of damper on the party, but not too bad. So, we're here to tell you we're already meeting. We're doing it again next year. Chalk Fest 5 will be held on August 13th and 14th. So we'll be back to you with details closer to that time. We would also like to briefly, Marty is going to talk to you a little bit about the event and some of the numbers at the event, but before she does, I would like to talk to you a little bit about the bathroom, the ongoing bathroom issue there. There is that small building that at one time was a male-female bathroom. So we're discussing the possibility of just making one of those sides kind of a unisex bathroom and replacing the plumbing. It's kind of old and nasty. So I don't know if we will, or if you guys would like that, or whose problem that bathroom would end up being. But I don't know. I guess we can talk about it and think about it.
Yeah, well, obviously, at the Chalk Fest, the hundreds of people over there, thousands, I don't know what not the count is, but the porta potties aren't nice. It would be nice to have
Yeah.
something a little bit more of the,
It really would be, hand washing, you know, and all that kind of stuff, hygiene. So we will talk about it more as a committee and then we'll get back to you about that.
are you guys thinking plumbed into the sewer
It
system,
is,
or?
it is a flush toilet.
Okay, so what do we know exactly what's wrong with it? Why,
Well, I think
does it
it's
work
just
at all, or?
With kind of abandoned and it hasn't been used and I don't know. I guess I really don't know.
Yeah, it's just kind of fallen into disrepair, plus I think there were some sewer issues.
Yeah, I think some of it, when we've been in there and pulled the meter for the winter, it looks like just a lot of the plumbing has just been cut loose, it just needs to be really re-hooked up.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just disconnected, maybe some of the toilets would have to be replaced, but I mean, all in all, most of the plumbing is there, it's just some sections cut out, or maybe frozen broke out at one time.
We use it for storage for the
Yeah.
most part.
Mhm.
And we also thought maybe we'd take those doors and put code lock doors on them, because if we get into a situation where the police or someone has to open or lock that toilet, you know, that key is sort of a pain.
Yeah.
So that's another improvement we thought might work.
Well, I don't think anybody has an issue with that working, Lauren. I think it's
Yeah.
whose responsibility is then to take care of it, upkeep, clean it weekly, monthly, or is it gonna only be, you know, we just have it
Open
used for
during the day.
events and not all the time?
And
However, we do have lots of young families that use that park now with the play area and the music area and.
Yeah. I don't think you would keep it there after freeze up. I mean, you wouldn't want it.
No,
Yeah, I think you'd
don't.
want to winterize that, I think one time it probably didn't get winterized quite properly.
Right, 'cause
or-
it's not heated, so
Yeah.
it'll freeze.
Yeah, so it would be seasonal
Okay.
anyway, so. But I just wanted to broach it and
Mhm.
talk about it again in the spring.
Great,
So
thank
here's
you.
Marty to tell you
Yeah.
all about the.
As far as I'm the geek that likes to know where people come from and what our attendance is, and we try to do so with no technology. This is basically what we see and what we feel and what we can collect during that time. So the first, the picture I showed you, this is our where are you from, and so people simply come in and they put a stick pin where they are coming from to come to this event. And you can see the little pink dashes all the way around the state of North Dakota, as well as the different states that folks come from as well, are highlighted in pink. This year, we noticed a tremendous increase in visitors from the Lincoln, Mandan, and Bismarck area. Last year, we had 2 or 3 stick pins in that area. This year, they were on top of each other with the pins that were coming in there. So we know that people are coming in from out of town. And I think one of the biggest things for me, as we take a look at the Hazen attendees versus all other attendees, Hazen attendees were 47.5% of the information that we could collect. 47.5% of the attendees were from Hazen. That means 52.5% were from outside of Hazen. That means tourists. That means whether they came from Weldona or Lincoln or Fargo or Beulah, they were here to attend this event. So I feel like this year, this event really changed from a community happening where the local community would come to an actual all-out tourist event. I feel like we've publicized through the course of the state and through the travel department and the travel and tourism department, we have some posts up in those areas, so I really think people know about this. Coming into our 5th year, I feel like our attendance from out of Hazen is going to grow substantially. So just wanted to let you guys know that by shutting off the streets for as long as they are shut down, it can be a pain for a lot of people. I get that. However, there are so many people that come after the events, people who couldn't come on Wednesday or Thursday, so they're out there Friday, they're out there Saturday, they're out there Sunday. And of course, we hope they're spending money when they come in. I know for a fact the next morning when we're out there cleaning, there was a mother and her 2 junior high age kids that had got up early from Bismarck that morning to be able to come and walk down the street. So if you can get junior high age girls out of bed to come an hour away to Hazen, I feel like that's a successful project. Not to mention all the other reasons why people attend. So, but just to give you, it is just a phenomenal event. And again, coming into our 5th year, I see that we estimate around 1,400 people came into this event. I could see that growing again this year.
Any
Awesome.
comments or observations or suggestions or anything?
I've had a couple people talk to me about handicap parking.
Pardon me? About
Handicap parking
Oh, yeah,
being an issue. A
yeah,
lot of them, even when they park in the city lot, it's too far for them to walk from here
yeah.
down to where the main event is. I
Yeah.
don't know if there's a way to fix that or not, but
I
give
suppose
that to
we
you
could,
guys to brainstorm.
there's, what, 4 here at the library, there's a couple.
Yeah, but the one that talked to me about it said she couldn't even park there. She
Yeah.
couldn't walk that far. You know.
Well,
I don't know
we
what we
do
could
have,
do.
we do have some golf carts that we use that we could actually help move people from the library parking lot over.
Yeah,
Or-
depending where they ended up
Or
parking.
maybe on
Depending on
that frontage,
their
we would
handicap.
set up some handicap parking back there instead of
Oh, yeah,
employees and
Mhm.
just random people
Oh,
parking
it's
back there. Hang
Such a
some,
mess back there
It
with
is.
hang
cooking
some
and
signs up
entertaining.
there for handicapped only maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
it's so.
That's up to you
Yeah, I
guys.
think that's something that
We can talk about that.
definitely talk about. One of the other, with regard to handicap accessible, was the distance between the curb and the street and the grass.
Oh,
And
it's a big step.
That's a step from the grass down to the curb and another step down.
Mhm.
And so could we fix that? And that's been a topic of conversation too, is maybe we can build some ramps or something like that. That would be in a couple places that would be able to allow for people to come from the sidewalk and be able to get down to street level or
When that
vice
was
versa.
poured-
Might be, oh, sorry.
When that was poured, I don't understand that either.
Yeah,
Like, it's like they did it and they never finished it.
yeah, it was,
Yeah,
You know, like it should have been topsoil hauled in and,
oh.
you know, leveled off with the concrete.
Oh, you're thinking the sidewalk and the dirt.
Correct.
Oh,
The
I think they're
sidewalk
talking
is
about
what
the
they-
street and the curb and then the grass is even higher. Is that what you're
Yeah.
talking about?
it's just like the
The
debris
curb.
that's built up and, you
Yeah.
know.
And so it takes, if you are taking small steps or you really don't have, I broke my kneecap a couple of years ago, so I was hobbled along with one leg, and so I had to step down and take another step down, to be able to get to it, but there are people, you know, we have people from senior suites come, we have people from the nursing home come, and, you know, we do wanna make it accessible for.
It might be more affordable to actually have a couple aluminum ramps built that can handle,
a
wheelchairs to go from the street up to the
Yeah.
grass and curb, you know, versus
It's a good idea.
cutting into the road and the
Mhm.
curb and gutter, but.
I don't know, do you have any like temporary handicap parking signs or anything like that?
No, but we could, they're,
They're easily to get.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe we could just create more spaces,
Mhm.
Maybe on the ends of the roads.
yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that,
Yeah.
where we shut it down, it can be handicap parking,
Mhm.
handicap accessible at that point.
Yeah.
Anything else? Thank you, yep.
No, I think the music was amazing, that's a big draw too, and I see the Waddingtons are in Medora in a couple weeks,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, they cost a little more every year.
Are we getting them again for this upcoming?
I think we're gonna be in contact with them, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the name of the gentleman from Belcourt?
The Kaplan, right?
Yes, yeah, he was really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome, thank you.
Thank you for everything.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Dave, or Jim, or Monty, do we have much complaints or issues with the street being closed? Do we have any much complaints, or, no, Jim is good? Monty, do we get calls
There were a
downtown?
few calls, but not a lot.
Okay,
They
good.
were asking about the street closure, if there were complaints.
Oh, did you,
Closure.
Yeah, we got a few complaints.
Yeah.
It was closed for too long.
Yeah,
That people thought it was excessive.
that was
Sure.
too long?
Yeah.
I'm
On
sure.
the front end or the back end or just the whole?
Before and after.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
Yep.
Something that might help or whatever, if we could look at is probably getting a couple, some kind of detour signs so people knew not to drive by the
Oh.
first turnoff or whatever.
Oh.
Get some signage of some kind for a detour route or
That's a
whatever. would probably
fantastic
help
idea.
some of that.
It's even me, like going to emergency in town, I'm like going down, expecting to go down Main Street, like, oh yeah, gotta go through that one. Great idea.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, moving on. 6B, unmuffled engine brake concerns. Gentlemen, you can sit in the front row if you want, you can come up at the front, whatever you want.
Okay, that's good.
By the way, did everybody get a chance to read the information
That was
you had to us?
that was gonna be my first question. I wasn't gonna bother reading through it. You guys, I'm sure, are all literate, so that I didn't wanna insult you by doing that, so. I just wanted to outline a couple other things. My name's Kent Byrne. Chris Miller is here, also Randy Fry. Mark Nygaard wanted to be here, but because of ongoing medical concerns, he was not able to make it. So, it's just something that has been nagging on a lot of us in the community for a long time. And probably more so, it's really impacted me more so this year as I was working out at the golf course and volunteer mowing. When I could hear the engine brakes over top my hearing protection and the mower I'm driving, it's getting a little loud. You know, and that, I honest to God heard when I was mowing on number 3. You know, I'm right there. Granted, I'm only, 75 yards probably, you know, from the highway. But, and that's where Chris has talked to me. I've learned more about engine brakes than I probably ever wanted to know in my life. And Chris has educated me a lot, and he said, well, it really comes down to the people that are unmuffled. And Chris can actually shed more insight, and he's had discussions with other people. But the other parts of this that we didn't address in the letter, but I think are just as important. And in reading your guys' from previous meetings, you brought about the safety issue, and I totally agree with that, because I've actually had semis pass me when I've been leaving town, in between the golf course turn and the bridge, going uphill. Not coming into town. Somebody's gonna get seriously hurt with some of these people. So, I appreciate you having those people out there trying to at least slow them down. I was driving 55 miles an hour, which is the posted speed limit. Evidently, that was not fast enough. The other part of that is what, you know, I kind of feel embarrassed that I didn't address this because I worked at a place, so I wasn't a shift worker, but what about the shift workers that have to listen to this? You know, we talk about it, oh, it's not that bad, but the guys are trying to sleep during the day. To me, that would be hard to take. Now, again, in this letter, if you read it, we're not saying all engine brakes. The biggest penalty, and this is something they're breaking the law. They are violating, it'd be like me taking a muffler off my pickup. I can't do that. You know, gentlemen, lady in the back row will pull me over and ticket me. So, if you have any questions, we would just really like to be able to see some action moving forward on this. As I know it's been discussed numerous times over the years, and we just feel that it's something that needs to be addressed. So, Chris?
Just very good summary of what we're doing, or ask, one thing from your past discussions, from, you know, this body, it's always been kind of centered on speeding, and actually, just reducing speed get down the speed limit is not an emergency situation. The other hand, it's decouple it from the speeding. We have the semis that are required to go to the railroad crossing, a full stop. They're using those engine brakes all the way down to 0, so it's, it's not an emergency situation. It just, I'll call it, if I had to take a guess, 1 out of every 50 semis do this, and it's just like, it's somebody who likes to make noise, so they're inconsiderate, they're not professional drivers, so it's just like, more attention, yes, we'd like to draw more attention to it. The current sign is vague, noise ordinance enforced. That means you can't turn your radio on past 11 o'clock, or, it's very nuanced, so having a very, very, specific sign that's very clear message. Now, there's been past discussions about not having no engine brakes, okay? That's what I provided you with a white paper from Cummins, the manufacturers of Jacob brakes. It's not that it's the engine brake itself, it's the unmuffled part. And that's where federal and state laws require mufflers on motor vehicles operating on state and federal highways. So there should be already a law enforcement hook into this. But, a lot of communities have it. Hanover.
I didn't, when I saw it, when you had it on the sheet, I didn't realize Hanover did it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not going quite slow enough like with Hanover.
And it's very well accepted everywhere now, whether from the legal standpoint, is it really the engine brakes or it's the noise that where the concern is at, so. This kind of addresses that. You don't wanna, tell the semi drivers can't use their engine brakes. However, those engine brakes are, there's 4 set points. 1, no engine brakes at all, or 2 cylinders, 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders. Of how much suppression that engine provides for braking.
Not all engine brakes are that way.
No, but.
Very few actually are.
The older ones are, but anyways.
The old ones are.
Yeah,
not
but the modern ones have DEF, air pollution control equipment, it provides baffling, noise suppression, and mufflers are required. So that's why when you see the newer semis going up and down the highway, they're using their engine brakes, but it's muffled. You can just tell by the tone, those engine brakes are being used, but they have a complete equipment on their vehicle. So this unmuffled engine brake aspect that we're trying to propose here is people who have modified their brakes and actually should be in non-compliance with motor vehicle laws, state and federal.
Do the newer automatic semis that have automatic transmissions, do they have Jake brakes too, or?
Our garbage truck has an engine brake.
It does?
They're more of an exhaust brake than a.
But then
Do
all engine brakes in.
you see what our garbage truck does?
Yeah.
Do we use
But
it coming into town?
Yeah. Oh, we use it in town, but you'd never hear it because it's muffled, it's got.
And
the
it's an
DEF system
exhaust
on
brake,
there.
which is
Your
required.
And
garbage truck has,
It has an exhaust brake on it, yeah.
and you use it?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't know
That's fully equipped, not modified.
Correct. So you're asking us to create an ordinance to enforce something that should already be enforced.
Well, I'm not, you have an existing ordinance called your nuisance.
Noise.
Well,
So then it's interpretation, what's a nuisance or annoyance?
according to your letter, it says that there's state statutes, state and federal statutes saying that.
It
So
requires.
there's already laws out there, so why are we gonna create another ordinance to cover those laws that already
I
exist?
don't think you need.
It's kinda like gun control, creating another one to keep guns out of felons' hands, which
Okay.
are already not allowed to have guns.
I'll let the city attorney address whether you need another ordinance or not. What our ask is a simple sign, very minimal dollars, to clarify, so when people are traveling through our community, they know what the expectations are. I'm not asking for a new regulation. You might have existing
Maybe
regulations on
something,
hand.
just something to help possibly slow down.
It's just very,
Yeah.
very small.
Sam, you got a comment?
Yeah,
Small
so
enough.
if we erect a sign, it's gonna be where the city limit is, but you guys have already commented that the engine brakes are starting and the Jake brakes are starting before city limits.
No, we can put a sign up by the airport turn.
I think
If we
And
get the
that's what I'm-
county's approval.
And the county says that they won't do anything until we say yes.
Correct,
Yeah.
so, and I know that in the past, you guys have mentioned that we can patrol a 1.5 miles outside of our jurisdiction, we can. But are we gonna enforce a city ordinance outside of the city limit?
We're wondering why we can't replace that vehicle noise ordinance outside of town with
At the
engine
55
brake,
mile hour
engine
reduction.
brake sign. Where my yard is, and I'm out in my yard, I watch every truck all day long coming in and out. And actually, there's only about a quarter of the trucks that love their engine brakes. And they'll engine brake, some of the anhydrous trucks will engine brake till they're a complete stop at the tracks. And I've watched and heard trucks engine brake past Dollar General almost to the hospital turn. That is a little ridiculous. And then across the street from me to the north, you got all them townhouses and apartments. There's kids trying to sleep at night, shift workers trying to sleep. My wife and I have been woke up numerous times, 2, 3, 4 in the morning from them engine brakes. So it's not just us.
And I live over there on that side of town, and I'm a shift worker. And you know what bothers me more is people mowing their lawn, or the train. I hear the train more than I hear the jake brakes going off.
I live over there too, and I honestly have never been woke up by any jake brakes.
Well, we came here today.
Different things affect different people.
Correct.
We
I
know
agree
that.
with that. But we came here today just to have a hard, started conversation. So is it, we need to have more shore people? I mean, we can drum up a lot of people here. Mark Nygaardy, who's been here, he lives just on the north side of the hospital. He hears them, and it's irritating. That's why he wanted to join us today. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to come. Or again, it's simple request for a sign. It's clear whether it's a new ordinance is required or not. I don't believe so, but Mr. Donovan can answer that for you guys.
Sam?
Yeah, that's kinda where we would like some direction as well. Like, if you guys are asking for us to enforce a city ordinance outside of city limits, and I mean, then we need to know if we can actually do that. That's a city ordinance that you're asking us to enforce, and have you been to the county? You live outside the county, outside the city, correct? Do you pay city taxes that contribute to city resources? Have you been to the county to ask them where they stand on that issue?
I think I'll let Mr. Donovan, someone else answer the legalities of it. But you already have your ordinance, noise ordinance sign. That's out there at the 55 mile an hour reduction, outside the city limits.
Correct.
So that's probably where I would think that would be the correct location for this updated sign. Whether you just add to it or replace it, either would work.
Okay.
Whether you enforce, I mean, the speeding coming in and the noise, I mean, if you have a car running around town with straight pipes and extremely loud.
That's within city limits.
Okay, well,
Where is so you're really concerned about city limits, where is this?
Because that's our
Where, I know,
Railroad tracks.
what, I'm asking, where is the city limit?
Railroad
We
tracks.
can go half a mile outside the city limits, and that's to that, wow,
Basically bridge.
We can
five
patrol
hundred
that.
feet from Knife Rivers Bridge.
Yes, you can
But we
enforce.
also have the county, there's a county link here too. I see the county sheriff's department sitting on our highways within,
Yeah.
right in this place too, so
That's
it's a
their
joint
jurisdiction, correct,
law
yes.
enforcement.
So city ordinances are, you can only enforce them within city limits. Now, police, municipal police have jurisdiction 1.5 miles past city limits, meaning that they can enforce state law out there, like we all can. Like, for instance, me as a deputy sheriff, I can't come in and enforce city ordinance, but I can enforce state law.
We're not asking for anything.
I understand, I'm just
No,
clarifying that aspect
No,
of
no, we're not
jurisdiction.
asking for anything. I feel like a little pushback, and we're trying to be respectful of this situation. We're not asking for anything that is not looked upon by everybody, pretty much in this state. You can go by every town. And there's no engine brakes, no jake brakes, something.
Well,
You know,
I brought up the-
except us.
Yeah, I
Are
brought
we
up in
the
the
only
past.
light in town in North Dakota? I don't think that's the case.
And then most of the discussions are on the east side of town, but the west side of town, that's what kind of curious is noise coming in for the.
I actually, since I bought the twin homes, and I don't know if it's because I'm higher up, when I was over in Century Apartments, I barely ever heard them. Where I'm at now, I hear them all the time, all the time. I'm a type guy, I like to have my windows open. I don't keep my windows open anymore.
And I'm not trying to give you guys any pushback on this, but if I were to write a citation for a city ordinance outside of the city limit, they could easily fight that citation and it would be dropped anyway. That's where I stand on that issue. Why am I gonna force something if it's gonna be dropped anyway? Because I don't have jurisdiction out there. And if the county, like Deputy Folkerts stated, if they had an ordinance about it, I couldn't enforce that ordinance, even if I patrolled them out and they're outside of city limits.
Well, if they're coming into town, they're obviously breaking when they're coming into town.
And if they're speeding,
and
then they're gonna be doing that way
but
before
they're-
they get to town.
May I finish, please?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
If they're breaking and using them, like these guys have said, and they're right out there, all the way out, they're virtually almost in town.
The times that they're in town is very rare.
But if they're coming and you hear them, you have a half a mile, you said.
No, to patrol, I can't enforce our ordinance a half a mile outside of city limits.
So why would you patrol?
Because it can enforce
Is the
state
golf course
and county.
No,
in city limits or out of city limits?
out of city limits.
And that's
Here's the
1.5.
thing, I don't know if anybody else knows this, I'm an off-duty officer, okay? It also is a matter of, you guys hear all this stuff, and I'm not debating that you hear it, okay? I'm not debating that at all. But most of my shifts are at night, okay? I'm not even taking into account that it's winter time and that the traffic is getting lighter, okay? Most of my shifts are at night, and at its peak, man, it is just a circus of trucks coming through. And I like having my windows down, okay, in my car, because I get hot. When these guys are coming through town, I don't hear any of the Jake breaks, okay? I don't. Now, like you said, different strokes for different folks, okay? But I can tell you that at one of my shifts, okay, I was heading west, okay, and I was over by, I can't think of it right now, what's the bar over by, WOS? Jimmy's, okay? At night, you can see Buffalo Hill. I heard Jake breaks on Buffalo Hill, and they were loud as hell. If I can hear them from over there, I sure the hell should be able to hear them if they're crossing the tracks or coming into the outskirts.
And I'm guessing it's just the way the buildings are arranged and echoes and everything and
Exactly.
height and all that other
There's so
stuff.
many variables here.
There are, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't enforce it.
I'm not saying that. I'm
You
not
know,
saying that. And when the sand plants first
if
got
everybody
here,
else is doing it,
and when the sand plants first got here, okay, I don't think anybody really thought that they were gonna stick around. But now we got what, 3 or 4?
Right.
Okay, obviously this isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So yeah, not just do we as the PD need to evolve, but the commissioners need to evolve, everybody in town needs to evolve, the city needs to evolve in curbing this problem, okay? I'm from Williston. There's always been truck traffic, but even they had to evolve at the height and the peak of the oil field because it was getting insane. So this is a problem no matter what, but we've all got to be on board with this. So we can sit here all night long and say, it's their fault, it's your fault, it's our fault. But, and there's so, like I said, there's so many variables. I mean, shit, we came up with our jurisdiction, county, all sorts of stuff. So, you know, we're just gonna spin our wheels.
well, my guess is the one you heard is just as what he talked about, is unmuffled engine brakes. And like the one I heard, I mean, hearing it over hearing protection and a motor.
I guess, this conversation, we can just kind of wrap it up here, Jerry, if you don't mind. First of all, you know, we all have to assume, is noise an issue? Is noise a nuisance? Excessive noise is an annoyance. But requesting the county, you know, state highway department to put a sign out there to tell the operators what the expectations are, nice and clear, not vague, is that a hardship? You know, whether you have the enforcement out half mile or at the railroad tracks, to be honest with you, the sand guys, were certainly exacerbated the problem, but this problem's been going on for years. We have so much overland freight, you know, from the Dakota gasification plant, the fertilizer, propane, and hydrous, and farms. I mean, it's been, trucking's always been heavily used road. The sand guys certainly added to it.
I guess if
We
there's
think
any,
there's a
if,
simple solution here to give it a try. If it doesn't work,
well, if there's any way to make it safer and reduce noise, I'm in favor of it. I don't feel like we're trying to put a jurisdiction on professional people that are making a living driving the trucks. And I know that's not what you're asking,
yeah.
but if we can slow people down a little bit, because obviously with these 3 sand facilities,
There's actually more than that.
there's a lot of truck traffic.
There's one.
And they're not just in our
I
county.
mean,
No.
there's 2 out past the crossroads, and there's at least 2 south of Highway 200.
Well, if there's anything we can try to do, even if it's, we put up the sign and we're not gonna ask our law enforcement to sit out there and wait for it and watch it, maybe it'll slow down 10 trucks or have them ease off, I don't know, but I don't feel like it's a burden or we're infringing on their constitutional rights of being a driver and using their decisions to use a engine brake, but.
the ones who are doing it are not professional drivers. They're just, it's big noise, in my opinion. You can hear it.
How much have you drove a truck in your life?
I'm on farm, beet trucks, potato
So
trucks.
most professional drivers use their jakes at all times
Yes,
possible.
they do, but they don't, and they also don't have a modified, because they live in that thing, they don't need hearing protection to operate their office.
Or they're muffled, right?
Yeah, the mufflers.
That's what, we're not saying Jake brakes, we're saying unmuffled.
Correct. So you want an ordinance for a law that already exists?
No,
Yeah, you do.
no, what we're saying is put up a sign.
But why are we
that
gonna
is-
put up a
no,
sign for something
no,
that's not
can you-
enforceable?
Let me finish, please.
Correct, I've
Let me
heard
finish.
you, and I'm getting to my point now. Why would we put up a sign that's unenforceable? Because if we don't make an ordinance to state that, it is unenforceable, period.
Isn't there a noise ordinance?
There is a noise ordinance, which
So
we
it-
can already enforce.
Within city limits.
Correct.
That's not the city, not by the golf course.
So what do all the other towns do that put?
I have no idea, I don't know.
I've never,
No, no,
I've never heard of a ticket being wrote for engine brakes. I know a lot of people that have a million miles on a truck, and I've never heard of one getting a ticket for.
But like I'm down in Bismarck, I don't hear them running engine brakes down.
I don't hear
Not the
anybody,
loud- not
I
the loud
hardly ever hear anybody in town run it either. Most of the ones that I hear are outside city limits hauling hazmat that have to stop at those railroad tracks. I'm not saying I don't hear it in town.
That's not true.
Because I do hear it every once in a while in town.
it happens a lot.
I've watched sand trucks, engine brakes, past the railroad tracks, past Dollar General.
So once again,
I-
they're more than
I-
likely already breaking the law by
I've
going
heard,
too
I've heard the
fast.
engine brakes and look out my window, my twin.
Because if
home,
you're on the
and I
brakes
see 'em
that hard,
driving right
for
by.
that long, you'd be below the speed limit already.
I think Monty could maybe put a comment out to listserv to other communities to see what they do for their enforcement.
And not only that, are they
Yeah.
potentially reflecting some state law that's out there? I mean, I haven't ever enforced, it's never been a concern of mine to enforce any kind of vehicle noise ordinance out in the county.
Do your bosses ever talk to you guys about that at the county level?
We don't.
There
We have
that.
other things that we're dealing with versus that, because
Well-
I'm assuming it may be because it's typically up to municipalities to enforce, to have whatever laws or
Look,
ordinance in place.
let me
but-
just say this, and this is from a law enforcement, I'm pretty sure I can speak for anybody wearing a badge in here. Because our frustration is your guys' too. Sir, I forgot his name.
Pardon me?
His name?
Randy, Chris?
Randy. You mentioned these guys aren't professional drivers, okay? A lot of them aren't. And that's our frustration, because when we have to pull these guys over, you know how frustrating it is? We gotta spend 20 minutes, half hour. Hell, I was with Jesse on stuff, and we were there for almost an hour trying to figure out what this guy's name was, what country
Can you
he's from.
speak English?
The
Yeah,
fact that he
right.
might not have a Class A driver's license.
Yeah.
That's our frustration, so you're absolutely correct. We share some of that frustration with you. okay?
I've often,
And the
I've
thing
often,
is,
I've often
we
wondered that.
we can give these guys citations, and yes, we can call, you know, pick whatever institution you want. We can call Border Patrol or ICE or whoever you want. But they're gonna tell us that they are so backlogged and jammed up with people that the only thing we can do is cite these guys and let them go. Do you know how many times I don't wanna let someone go that I don't know has a Class A license, and I have one.
No,
I have a Class A
I get
license.
that, it's gotta be horribly frustrating, but it's still your job too.
Exactly,
Yeah, we
exactly.
can let them go with a $20 ticket. You think that's gonna deter them?
Half the
Okay,
truckers
is
are.
there any other, do you have anything else, Chris?
You know,
I guess like to get back to
We'll
what you.
see what the discussion goes, and I guess, if I do have some follow-up, I'll see where.
So my thing is there something that is reflected in the state statute, state century code prohibiting something that, you know, as far as.
You can't modify your.
Obviously, you can't modify it, so that's the thing, is there's modified motor vehicle, which I've cited numerous times throughout my career, but that's something is point blank in black and white to see as your tires are extending past your fenders 6 inches. That's modified motor vehicle all day long, easy as hell to prove in court, wham bam, Bob's your auntie, okay? But when it comes to engine braking and stuff like that, how do you go and do you pop the hood to go over there to see if it's modified? Obviously, you can. I understand this is the noise ordinance issue. The noise is the issue. The suppression of the noise is the goal in this.
From
whole
somebody
thing.
that's a woodworker,
As am I.
I have an app on my phone
Yes, sir.
that is a decibel app.
Correct, but that
You
would
have them started up and they run it.
and I'm not debating you, sir. My point is, what I'm bringing up to everybody here is there a state century code that would say that, because
There is.
when it comes to law, okay,
There is.
and is there a decibel in there or something like that, or is it a subjective, subjective terminology saying like within the, you know, if it's an annoying noise?
Yeah,
you
chapter
know.
3921 to section 27, equipment of vehicles. Every motor vehicle must at all times be equipped with a muffler in good working order and in constant operation to prevent excessive or unusual noise.
So what's the definition of muffler though? That's the thing.
Not straight pipe, so a baffle, a noise suppression. So it's just a long tube. So that's where these modified straight pipe semis, that's not, there's no muffler.
But you guys have
system.
already stated earlier that you can have a muffler and still use Jake brake.
Yeah, I know.
And they're
Wrong
quiet.
with
And
Jake
that requirement is met then for the century code.
brake. If they have a muffler, and that's
Correct.
our ass is unmuffled.
They're saying the ones that they're hearing are these unmuffled semis that are
That's what
going
we
to town.
want. Yeah,
If I
address.
walk up to a semi and I see stacks and see that there's mufflers,
A stack is not a muffler.
Yeah. You'd have to go underneath the truck
See?
with the hood.
A stack is a tailpipe.
correct?
So there's sound suppression.
So we have to crawl
noise-
under a vehicle?
What's that?
Do
So we
have
need
to go
specialized
underneath?
training, you're saying,
I
in order to
don't
enforce this
know all the
ordinance?
answers, but
Right.
our question in here is to try to do something other than, it's safety's concern. And that seems like where it dropped every time. If they're using their Jake brakes, as you say, 100% of the time, and it's a safety issue, to me, they're pretty crappy drivers.
Correct, but if you say no.
They're actually using
Hold on.
them
Unless
to
an
save the
If-
brakes.
But who gets to determine it's an emergency? Is that officer gonna particularly see that event, or are they gonna see it from, or hear it from 2 blocks away and go after that truck, but didn't see that somebody pulled out in front of them?
Right.
It's true.
I would like to
I
get
think it's
back
pretty
to-
simple. You watch the
So-
traffic and people start their engine brakes out there at 55
Right.
and run it all the
But
way
either
through.
way, no matter
It's
how
not-
you
it's
look
not
at it,
the whole
you're
thing.
trying to take away a break.
Pat,
If it's unmuffled,
Pat weigh in on this?
if it's unmuffled and they come.
Pat, what are your thoughts?
Well, from what I'm hearing, I'm wondering why citizens and police are arguing over something. When the citizens come in with a complaint, I think you should be looking for answers to the complaint.
I
Not
don't think we
denying
arguing. I was
or
thinking we need.
defending
We
yourself
need something
and
on
saying,
paper to say, hey, you can
and
do.
everybody's saying, oh yeah, well,
So give us a
let's
clear
point the
answer.
finger here and there, yeah. But I think you should look for, answers to that.
And that's what I'm
when
here for, a
they're
solution.
posed, they're not attacking good drivers, legitimate drivers, average drivers even. They're just saying there are some bad eggs there. We know that. There are some modifications. Maybe the state has to be involved. Maybe they need to set up a traffic stop somewhere ahead of the hill or right below the hill or something. Do it a couple times and they probably will slow down. There doesn't seem like a big request to change a sign. I mean, if that's gonna help, if it makes a difference, why not do it? I mean, I don't see the point of arguing or debating.
That's really all
There's
we're
really
asking
nothing.
is to replace that noise ordinance sign with a no engine brake sign. That's, and then the truck drivers are gonna see it, oh, I can't, well, hopefully I can't use my engine brakes now, I'm going through town. It's just to replace the sign, that's all.
But then that would say then inherently that it is illegal to use engine brake, muffled or unmuffled.
No, we want the sign to say unmuffled engine brakes.
Okay, well, that would be
That's our
different.
preference, so we get through that issue.
That would be different. so.
That was the basic premise of our letter.
Yes, sir.
And that actually was in that white paper, right, Chris? They actually showed an example of a sign that they recommended. Because obviously, whoever Jake Brake is, Cummins, they don't wanna lose that business. You know, that's gotta be a huge revenue stream for them.
They will never lose it, but anyways, that's from the manufacturer's own viewpoint.
And I don't think we're arguing, we just want direction. And we need direction.
He needs a practical application of how to enforce, so.
The state can't replace that sign unless the city approves it and the county has to
Correct.
approve it. I talked to a DOT guy, he's from Dickinson.
Yep.
And he said, all we need is the city approval and the county approval and we'll replace that sign.
And I would venture to guess if you would move forward with that and went to the county level, all the people that are out there at the crossroads would jump on that to the county and get those, the same type of sign or request out there at the crossroads. They're inundated right there too.
Well, they already can, they don't need us to put one.
No, but
on
I just said,
crossroads.
you don't need you, but it's for the county to take it upon, you know.
Yeah, we would-
I can't go to the county to do what's here in the city, so it just be jumped on the back up. Thank you for your time.
Yep,
Yes.
thanks for coming in, and,
So, Jerry,
let's see if
just
Monty
like-
finds, yeah, Casey, go ahead, sorry.
Even though I'd like to see a sign too, you know, I mean, even though that we don't really have a way of them like saying, you know, I mean, maybe it's gonna slow down the guys that do it, you know.
Yep.
Modify it a little bit.
Yeah,
Abate it,
You know,
hopefully.
It's not a bad spot to start.
yeah. You know, just like up at the tree down, the gravel area. Well, it's right, there's a big sign that says that you're on.
Smile.
Yeah, smile, yeah, well, yeah, well, that's not true.
I always smile.
Yeah,
I
so,
always wondered that.
well.
There is
there's a little-
cameras up there.
Here's the
There's
bird
a little,
couple of them.
little, I guess,
Trail cams.
yeah, but yeah,
Wow.
so,
Okay.
but,
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen,
Yep.
Yeah, thanks.
for your time,
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it very much.
I know just this morning, maybe it was Tony sitting there by Jimmy's this morning at 5:15 this morning, or it was you, when I went by to work. You know, there's 2 sand trucks in front of me, you know. I'm awful glad that there's a passing lane on Buffalo Hill. But, you know, it's, the traffic is heavier. It is 24/7 with those semis.
That's not going away, I'm sure.
It's not gonna go away, no. I mean, if there's any way we can make things a little bit safer, I don't know, my concern is from Krause's to the golf course. Yeah, but anyhow, go ahead.
Well, I know you keep saying make it safer. But you're taking a break away from a truck that potentially weighs 100,000 pounds.
Yes, you and me both can agree or disagree on that, but a trucker that's coming down that road 8 times a day, he knows that what the conditions are, he knows that hill, he knows it's 55,
You are-
slow your ass down.
You're
I mean,
100%
yeah.
right on those guys.
And if there's,
Whether it's the random guy that's coming up to DGC for the first time to get a load of anhydrous and he's gotta stop at the tracks, and you honestly
we're not taking
cannot
his,
see
we're not
those-
taking his break away from him.
Yeah, you are, by putting that sign up there, you are.
No.
No, not if it's
No,
on.
not.
Yeah, no, it's.
If they wanted to say unmuffled
Correct.
engine
Yeah.
brakes.
But
So
once
if,
again,
and what I think their point was, if it's unmuffled already and they choose to use engine brakes, that'd be the violation.
once,
So I don't know if that's what you're kind
but
of
once
getting at
again,
too, or-
you're putting something in place that's already in place. There's already state statutes saying you have to have a muffler on.
So what's wrong with us reminding them of that?
The fact that you're taking that ability away from somebody, potentially.
Well,
I,
do speed limits take away your, you can't speed, but.
Are you talking perception?
Speed limit sign, I mean,
Yeah.
that doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense, all
Are
you're
you-
doing is changing the sign.
Are you talking perception of a driver who comes in, reads that, and then they perceive it as, oh, well, now I can't use my brakes?
Well, correct. They
Okay.
see that, I can't use my engine brake.
If it's an emergency, he's probably
They'll
gonna
use
use it
it
anyway.
Oh, I hope
and
they will.
risk getting a small
But
ticket
we're
for
also
it.
putting a sign up that's not enforceable, that's the other thing I don't agree with. It, in no way, shape,
Yeah, I
or
don't
form
necessarily
is
like
it gonna
that
be
either,
enforceable, cause our officers can enforce it outside of city limits. Jesse can't enforce it outside of city limits because it would be a city thing. So from railroad tracks technically to where we put the sign, it is
Yeah.
literally unenforceable.
So these guys can literally hear all the way,
do
all the way up to the railroad tracks, and if that last stops at that railroad tracks, everybody still hears it,
Well, and-
but nothing can be done about it under
But
the city ordinance.
nobody's also talking about the fact that, so, I don't get woken up by Jake brakes, but one thing that I can get woken up every time by is the fact that you've got Johnny Regular Guy who's going out of town,
Yeah.
okay? And you and me know, we
Oh,
know, anybody on that side of town, the minute they hit the top of that hill, they open her up and they let it loose.
Yeah,
And
most
you've
of
got
them-
pipes, in the summertime, you got people taking their bikes out in the morning, cause people ride their motorcycles to work. You know, you've got all the little tuner cars that open her up, you know, so, you know, like I said earlier, there's so many other variables here that, and 200 is a nightmare. Honestly, the best way to police 200, and everyone who is sitting here who's worked for Hazen PD knows that even with the deputies, on 200, to be able to safely, especially during peak hours, which is, you know, 3 o'clock to, you know, 6 at night.
7, yeah.
And then what, 5 to 7 or 8 in the morning, everybody's coming and going, okay? Trying to turn around and catch someone who's speeding is dangerous. So then we're adding all the new truck traffic. It's a lot better, and I do this right now, I just did it on day shifts. There's a spot you sit on, you leave your lights on, and if you find that there's a train of people coming, and because everyone's following that lead car, so you got 8 vehicles, and one of them, or 2 of them might be semis, and they're all speeding. Flip your lights on, and the whole bunch power down. It's a reminder. That's the safe way to do it. And then if you wanna get your tickets on 200, you do it while everybody's at work, in the middle of the day, when there's not all that traffic. All of that stuff isn't being taken into account by those 3 guys and everyone else who has a problem. I'm not saying that they don't have legitimate, you know, problems and issues, but take into our account too.
There's only one real good spot where you saw me sitting this
This
morning
morning,
that's
yeah.
safe for us to pull off on the highway. Other than that, we're going down in the ditch, and with the winter coming,
That's
I'm
not
not
an
gonna go
option
down there and get
anymore.
stuck or
Mm.
break our equipment, so. And I know that the city guys don't like it when we tear it up, the ditches, cause it causes ruts. There's really not very many places to safely sit. Yes, there are a couple of places out there, but it's really not the best
Right.
situation.
And Jimmy's does not want you in anywhere close to the bar.
It's not up to them though, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's,
I'm just saying, it's just the
They're an
approach
asshole.
by the golf course that really we consider, else you're in the ditch.
Out there.
Yeah, there's one over by TSC and then out by the golf course, that's about it.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
right next to, an entrance into the bulk plant by the hub.
Oh,
Yeah, really, it's,
Can't until a semi comes, and the guy
Yeah,
might have to
right.
move.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any objection to Monty sending out the question on listserv to see what other communities do for their enforcement or signage? Okay, Monty, would you do that, please? Okay. Moving on. I'm sorry, is there any other discussion?
I'm there's usually 99.9% of the time, there's already some kind of state law that a city will adopt into their ordinance as to enforce as their own, so I can't imagine that this would be any different in this situation. It's just, regardless, it's gonna take creative writing potentially, because there will be something there, and then God forbid if anything were to go to court, I mean, it's.
Well, the city's already adopted the state law about mufflers.
Yes, I understand that, but I'm saying there's probably more than one law that would fit to this particular situation with the goal in mind to reduce the noise coming from these trucks who are using their engine brakes. Like, there must be. Where that's at, I don't know. It's never been an issue of mine to try and pin down to, narrow down to which law that would fit to that the best. But just because it feels wrong and it feels bad, so there's gotta be a law out there because it says, they're required mufflers, but if it's too loud, who's to say it still doesn't technically still have a muffler per whatever the law is?
Doesn't say you have to have a muffler, it says it has to be baffled.
Well, whichever, then who's to say,
Some
which is an
Harley
internal part,
drivers
isn't it?
that know how to finagle that one washer welded into a tailpipe can be considered.
Well, all you know as well as I do with ATF, it's all about the wording. That one
Yeah.
washer is technically could be considered a baffle, therefore
Correct.
it's not illegal. So that's where this issue comes from, like I feel, because there's that impasse where like, but it says it's a law, and it's like, but there's more intricacies to it than just that. But that's where I'm at with it.
I think it's much simpler than this. I think we start simple with a sign and see what happens there. My other thing is, I would love to have DOT put up flashing speed limit signs coming in town. Like when people come into Washburn, they hit the brakes on 83 to slow down.
Correct, but part of that is due to their enforcement.
Yeah,
Everybody knows over there you don't speed, cause they will nail you
Well, and
all the time.
I would say most of the time when I see a car pulled over in that, it's county or state, it's not
Well, they don't have any city,
okay, so
they
there,
fall under a county
Yeah,
jurisdiction.
this Rick
Okay.
Richards left the troopers and went to, he's the patrol supervisor for Washburn now.
okay.
That's why you see all the cars spotless.
But still they have two flashing signs coming in from, when you're coming from Bismarck into
I
Washington.
definitely don't think it'd probably make our decisions a hell of a lot easier when it comes to whether or not to cite this person for speeding if we had them up there.
I'm okay with that.
Well, maybe that's
If
something
can
we
get them
petition
locked
the
into it.
state on, and I don't know the last time they've done a study on traffic to see how many trucks and vehicles are coming through Hazen.
You every other year, basically.
Okay.
I mean, I don't dislike that idea at all.
Yeah.
You know,
We were told we buy our own sign. Those jurisdictions have all bought their own sign. We already have one sign. It's just a matter of getting approval to put it up, out there.
For what?
We
For
have
the-
a
We have a
flashing-
speed limit sign. We've had for
Not
5
a
or 6 years.
A flashing,
yeah, the
Yes.
one that was at
Oh, no
Chinese, the one by the.
It's right by the school.
Oh, that one, okay.
oh, that's a flashing, yeah, that's true.
It does the speed limit.
Yeah, so we could put that out.
Get
Everyone.
approval is all we need.
Do we need approval from us or from the state?
DOT, it's gonna be in there right away, so it has to be,
How do we get that?
Petition.
we'll contact the engineer in Dickinson.
Okay. Alright, so we'll do. Dan, you got all that?
I watched the video 15 times.
Okay, down to reports, water sewer.
The garbage truck is down
Sign that stuff.
in East Bismarck right now. You know that there was problems with tail lights, I guess oil leak,
Gotta get it tomorrow morning.
you know, they're, you know, too, on the belts and stuff, you know, I guess maybe I'll let Dave, I guess, explain a little more, but you know, there's gonna be a price difference, I guess, in the wiring, I guess that leads off back to one of the taillights, but Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, all the total, check engine light, coolant leak, lights not working, what else was there? Yeah, the antifreeze leak, they found a bad wire harness. Fixing everything, there's two options, and it boils down to whether you have them do a run overlay harness to repair the part of the factory harness that's defective, or replace the whole body harness. So the oil leak, the fan belt and all that, if a guy would go with the brand new wire harness, you'd be looking at $5,661.86. If they do just take out or bypass the bad section of the original harness, string a new line, it would be $4,455. For all the repairs, the windows, fan belt and all of that, the big change would be whether we want the new wire harness or just have them bypass the section that's bad with their overlay harness.
You think?
Hear that right, approximately $4,000
No,
difference?
2,000.
about about $1,200 difference.
$1,200.
I talked to the mechanic, he says that if you put the new harness in, the old harness comes out, you might see where all the damage is, but they're putting the new harness in. Doing the overlay, they're gonna just make room and slide this new section in. There might be some other wires that are bad or questionable. You'll never know until you bring it back, start using it, and if something else would fail. So it's whether you want to gamble and do the little repair, save the money, it might go forever.
Now, this is on the newer truck?
This is on the new one.
Okay, then I would say replace the whole thing myself. If it was the
Yeah,
older
the
one.
labor rates are high.
Yeah, they're like
$180
like
or
$178 an hour or whatever. And just to find that there's a bad section in that wire harness, yeah, I think they got about $700 in just the diagnostic part of that. So, is it just this one wire that's damaged that they would replace if they repair the whole harness? And there might be something hidden, because they said they're not gonna yank it out to inspect it, because if you're gonna do that, then you might as well put in the new harness. So I guess it's kind of, I can go either way. I mean, the spot repair might be great, and it might not, I don't know.
What's your motion, Casey?
So I guess I move, that we do all the repairs, swapping out, I guess, on the new, I guess, wiring harness.
Okay, motion by Stern,
Second.
second by Weidrich. Discussion.
One thing that I probably should have mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago when we were told this truck was going to Bismarck, is we always preach shop local. But it seems like our road department always takes stuff out of town without even, at least I don't hear that we try to keep it local. I mean, we have 2 truck repair places
Not true,
here.
because the last truck repair we had was done by Freedom Truck Center.
Okay, I don't remember that one, but did we ask Freedom Truck or mandate on this garbage truck, or what was, how did we make the decision to just automatically take it to Bismarck?
Usually it's time, it's how quick you can get scheduled in. I called down and we can get you in right away. It might be a 2-week wait. I don't know if these guys all have all the diagnostic equipment to do some of this stuff. I got a little scanner I plug in the truck, it loads to my cell phone, and I can ship it right down to the dealer. They tell me what the diagnosis is for free. Sometimes I can fix it here, sometimes they're doing that as a service to us, so that's worth something. Whether Freedom Truck Center could've got it, maybe, I don't know.
Well,
I know the last time we had bucket truck trouble, I went to mandate and they told me, no, they don't work on that kind of stuff.
Well, that's.
So I just didn't
that's
even
okay
stop
with
there
me.
and ask
You
on
know,
this one, so.
but we always preach shop local, shop local. Instead of automatically taking it to Bismarck, maybe you should
I didn't
attempt to,
automatically take it to Bismarck, but.
attempt to contact these guys first. And if they're obviously weeks out and it's our main truck, obviously we're not gonna wait if Nelson International can get it in right away, or whoever we take it to there.
Yeah.
Cause there is that, and I do agree with that.
Loaf does that too.
Yeah,
Yeah, he kinda specializes in
you know,
truck repairs.
Okay, yeah, so let's make sure we just check, do our due diligence then. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Stern,
Aye.
Weidrich,
aye.
Folkerts,
Aye.
Omenauer.
Aye, motion carried. Anything else, Casey?
No, that's all I got.
Okay.
Thank you.
Streets, Dave?
Pretty much ready for winter. I believe I'll be able to pick up the snow blades from the welding shop probably tomorrow. He figured he'd have everything all done today or whatever. They were kinda locked in the middle of his shop or whatever, so I'll stop there in the morning. I was there this morning and checked with them, so.
Okay. And how's the old garbage truck running? Is it,
Great, runs
Okay.
good.
Right.
It's actually kinda good to use it and exercise it a little bit
yeah?
instead of just sitting.
My DGC's used it a couple times already.
Mm-hmm, yeah, get good rent. Finance, busing, library,
I don't have a fence time.
police, fire.
I got some run reports for the last month for, fire department. We had 2 different lift assists in Hazen here, up in the ambulance. We had a motor vehicle accident on Highway 200 out by the airport. And we had a controlled burn during a burn ban. We had 2 mutual aid structure fires with Stanton. So it was a decent month for us.
Okay.
Stanton's awful glad that we come over and help them. Last we've heard that they only have 3 SCBA's,
Wow.
so
Wow.
if
What does
something
Big City
bad-
have?
I don't know how many they have, but they technically don't have a fire engine.
Oh, I thought they
got-
Wetstein said they had one.
They got some grass rigs.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
technically don't have a classified fire engine.
Okay, okay.
So, and technically, they don't even have a fire district. That's all under Hazen's district.
Oh, okay.
But it's one of those deals, I don't know how dispatch decides, but if it's up there, even if it's a grass fire, both of us get paged at
Yeah,
the same
I've
time.
heard, yeah.
Any structure fire up there, we get paged out. It's supposed to be automatic.
Okay.
Sometimes dispatch lacks by a few minutes, sometimes, but I'm sure it's
Yeah.
due to the turnover that they have.
I just got one thing to add. If you guys hear any complaints, I was out there on that accident even though we didn't get credit in the paper for it. So,
And I can vouch for that too. I did talk to Terry about it that night.
yeah, I
Due to
was
some
second on the
ambulance
scene,
issues.
so.
Okay, good.
I got 31 pictures if you want.
Maybe later. Anything else?
I don't have anything else unless Jim or Tony have anything to add.
Last Monday or Tuesday, I reached out to Cap Fleet just to see if I could get an update. Maybe we had moved up in the queue. I haven't gotten that yet, so.
They have it, you couldn't get a hold of anybody there? Cool.
Might be,
Actually, I do have one other thing to add.
Sure.
I was told by a certain individual, Tony went above and beyond during this election cycle with some adolescents that were vandalizing political signs.
really?
And Tony went above and beyond with Sam's help from what I've been told and took care of the situation, found out exactly who was doing it, and
Well,
Good.
giving credit where credit is due, Sam found all the signs.
Oh, they're taking them.
They were taking them, they weren't damaged, which that was part of the reason I approached it the way I did. Where they found them, they kind of threw them up like posters and trophies. So, honestly, it was kind of a community effort, with the way we resolved it, not just with the PD, but with the parents and also the victims. It wouldn't have worked unless all of those pieces fell into place, and it did, and I think everybody was very satisfied with the way it was resolved.
Good.
So, I even have a few of those kids, a couple of those kids, they see me at Krause's now, and they come up and talk to me, so, hey, that's cool.
Good.
If they
Thank
wanna
you.
float me a, I know everybody hears the eye in the sky, if they wanna float me a Red Bull or something.
Got it. All right. Thank you, guys. HCD, Myra's not here. Monty, have you heard anything or nothing?
Nothing that I'm aware of.
Okay, and I've got nothing in my report, so moving down to 12A, Housing Authority, Pioneer Apartment Board appointment. You guys all saw the information with Renee Schneider is willing to step onto the board. Monty's got it up there as well. I think she's got some great experience, especially with her professional background to help with, be on this committee, so we just have to give a stamp of approval, I believe, right, Monty?
Correct.
A motion or no?
Motion, yes.
Okay.
Who's she stepping in for?
Carla Orlog.
Oh, Carlos.
Yeah.
Good, okay.
Yeah, her term's expired.
I was wondering if she'd stay on.
I'll make the motion to approve the appointment of Renee Schneider.
Motion by Folkerts,
Second.
second by Weidrich, discussion. Roll call.
Folkerts.
Aye.
Weidrich.
Aye.
Stern.
Aye.
Omenauer.
Aye, motion carried. And then that takes us to 12B, 2025 WSI safety goals.
Our WSI audit is fast approaching, so Tammy came up with some safety goals for 2025. And they do need to be approved by the board.
I think they're very thorough and they're pretty simple, I think.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Weidrich,
Second.
second by Stern, discussion.
So then I guess, you on these goals and stuff, is there a plan then? Plan then, I guess, to, like meet these goals then? Or-
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
yes. Tammy has been very
Oh,
active in doing trainings and everything throughout the year.
Okay.
Yes.
Great,
Yeah, it's nice we have someone that steps up for that.
yeah, great.
Okay, we have motion and a second, any other discussion? Roll call.
Weidrich.
Aye.
Stern.
Aye.
Folkerts.
Aye.
Omenauer.
Aye, motion carried. Say there's no public comment. Approval of bills. Say Monty, just put a couple, one more, two more in here? One.
Move to approve the bills.
Motion by Stern to approve the bills.
Second.
Second by Folkerts. Discussion. Roll call.
Stern.
Aye.
Folkerts.
Aye.
Weidrich.
Aye.
Omenauer.
Aye, motion carried. Thank you all. Appreciate the input tonight.
I mean, you're adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.